Hey, it's Joy. I've got big feelings about little things, and I want to talk about it. Oh yeah, I'm mad about it. And the fact that everyone else is not up in arms about it is a big part of the problem. Oh, I bawled my eyes out, like I always do. It was the sweetest thing. Oh, it was the cutest thing. It was the funniest thing. Thanks for being here. Let's go. Hi. Thanks so much for being here. How are you? I'm really grateful you're here. I am kind of nervous coming to talk to you, to be honest with you. I had a really, really, really bad day the other day and would have loved to talk to you right then. But I was crying so hard. You know, I'm a crier. I cry. I will tear up in a heartbeat. I'll tear up during a conversation. I'll tear up at a commercial. I'll cry at a movie. I will say probably a little less than I used to, just because now I'm on antidepressant medicine. And so I think that does kind of numb things a little bit, just to the degree that it's like I'm not just quick to drop a tear. Although compared to most people, I still think I am. I'm just a crier. It doesn't bother me one bit to cry a little bit. But to tear up and stuff, that's one thing. But to utterly sob where I'm having a hard time catching my breath and what's coming out of me is like, it seems like it's coming from deep, deep down. It feels like it's coming from my toes, not from my eyes. That has not happened to me in a really long time. And what prompted it was losing something. And I'm telling you what, I'm good at a lot of things, but I'm not good at like keeping up with things. I lose things all the time. I am a classic example of things have to have a home and I have to put the thing back in the home or else I'll never find it. And about 95% of the time, I don't put it back in the home. And I can't find it. My keys, my debit card, my ID, my name it. Name it. I've set my phone down and forgotten it for such a long time that it got stolen one time. And 100% was my fault. Because I was like, where's my phone? Oh, I set it down in a public place well over 10 minutes ago. So yeah, it's long gone. I just watched on Find My iPhone. I watched it zzz. It wasn't that great. I could never get it back, but that is so painful. Losing something is so painful, especially when it's your own fault. It's a real kick to the gut. And the thing I lost, I mean, it wasn't expensive. It wasn't that hard to get a hold of. I made it myself. But losing it really opened something up. So what it was a bag of stickers. I have been working as a nurse at a pediatric hospital, a kids hospital, for a few years now. And during that time, I have had some amazing learning opportunities, some amazing like connecting opportunities. I've seen some of the coolest things. I've learned some of the coolest things. I've seen some really, really encouraging things about what people can do and what medicine can do and what families can do and what communities can do when we come together. I mean, I've seen some of the most encouraging things in the world. And I've also seen some of the hardest things that I will be honest, am naive to or was naive to before doing this job, before I became a nurse at all. there is a level of hurt and heartache and brokenness that I personally, in my own life and the lives of my friends and family, have mostly escaped. You know, the things that we say we are so grateful for, I know we're really grateful for, but I tend to take them for granted. I take for granted the fact that I know who my parents are. I take for granted the fact that both of my parents did not have some kind of drug or alcohol addiction or gambling addiction that ruined our family. I take for granted that we had a place to live every day when I was growing up. I take for granted the fact that if something were to have happened to my mom or my dad or both, that there was a much wider net of people that loved me and would have taken care of me and not let me get caught up in the system, for example, or not have any place to go, or not any of those number of things. And when you work in a circumstance where you unfortunately get to see sometimes these people that don't have those blessings, those benefits. I think before this, I would have maybe known about some of those circumstances anecdotally. So like in a fancy way of saying, one time somebody heard that somebody told this story about this, or I read this article in the newspaper about this, or I heard about this, or something like that. Now to see it is very heavy. And if you know or love or live with or run across someone that is in a caring profession like nursing, or is a therapist, or is a firefighter. I know we don't typically call those the caring professions, but they're a very, very caring profession, and they see a lot. That could be a whole nother conversation. And I think particularly teachers. When we talk about teachers and what they go through and how they're not paid enough, and the fight over, are we going to do this standardized testing versus do they have too many people in their classroom? All those conversations need to be had. But if you know and love a teacher, none of that stuff is what is keeping them up at night. And I'm willing, please reach out to me if I'm speaking for you and you disagree. But the teachers that I know, they are weighted down in their hearts by the home lives of the kids that they teach. Seeing them come in hungry, tired, not getting enough sleep. Sometimes they smell like, drugs, or maybe everybody's fighting, or there's so many things that even I couldn't tell you what they see and what they deal with day in and day out. My patients kind of come and go when they are in a crisis, but teachers really get to know these kids. And so that connection and seeing such hard things up close and personal is heartbreaking. And that's one of the ways in which we just don't or honestly can't support teachers well enough. I admire teachers so much for being out there, being on the front lines, and they do amazing work. Thank God for them, teaching us how to read and write, and teach us history, and teach us how to learn other things, and teach us how to think, teach us how to be kind to each other, how to walk in a straight line, how to wait our turn, you name it. They teach that. But to provide to be a loving, secure person in a child's life when they need it, that is invaluable. And so I say all this to say, even if you know, like, oh yeah, I bet people in those types of jobs, those people in those types of professions probably do see some interesting things or go through some tough things. That's probably just scratching the surface of what we go through. And to be able to hold that and look objectively and say, we know we're not going to be able to fix this. You know, any patient, any student, anybody that has challenges probably has them on many levels. You know, poverty is not just poverty and wouldn't it be nice if we could go to Target and get some new shoes? I mean, it is really trying to decide if we can afford the medicine that we need. Can we afford the care that we need to go get? Do we have transportation to get to the appointment? Even if we have an appointment, even if we have access to an appointment, can we get there? Or do we have any money to get a babysitter so brother can still go to school and have a place to come home to at the end of the day? There are so many layers. Again, so many things that many of us take for granted. There never was a day when we did not have a functioning car. Did we have a car that I thought was cool? No. Did we have a car that I liked? No. Did we have cars that embarrassed me? Yeah, because I was a kid. And, you know, I just wanted to be accepted and liked, but there never was a day I couldn't have gotten to the doctor if I needed to. And so when we step into these spaces and we see these unwinnable fights that we don't even really get into this fight. When I see a kid in front of me, most of the time we are super limited on what we're able to do, how we're able to help, and what difference we can make. And I learned that very quickly. I learned it in the medical profession, but there's something about working with kids that really highlights it because kids have no control over most anything in their life. You know, we don't get to choose our parents. We don't get to choose where we're born. We don't get to choose where we're dropped off. We don't even get to choose our own doctors. Our parents take care of everything. And so if you have parents that are struggling, trying their best, but they're up against challenges, you're also going to be up against those challenges. So there was a time when I would see a patient, do my best to take care of them, talk to them, be kind to them, talk to mom and dad, do whatever I could do, and have to leave that encounter just hoping, praying that I was able to do something helpful. I know my job description. I know I can do those things. I'm able to do those things. But just hoping, was I kind? Was I patient? Was I looking for other opportunities? You know, was I looking for an opportunity to teach them something that they need to know? Was I looking for an opportunity to tell them about a resource they didn't know about? Was I really hope I had the bandwidth that day? You know, I hope I wasn't tired and grumpy and just trying to keep my own head above water. I hope I served them in the best way possible. And one of the specific types of things I do for lots of my patients is lots of my patients need a tube need a tube in their nose. If a baby can't eat or a kid can't eat right, or they can eat but they'll vomit it up, or if they need to get medicines that they're not able to get down for some reason, we'll, even for a short time, we'll put a tube in their nose down into their stomach. And it's usually like this yellow tube, or sometimes we have these silver ones that test certain things. It's not like cute to have this on the side of your face. Now, kids can be cute no matter what. So a lot of them look really cute, but having this big yellow thing here is just not cute. And you tape it to their cheek so that it stays secure and it's not, rubbing around all over the place. And most of our tape is just very blah. It's like white or yellowish or tan. And we have a couple little stickers that have the little teddy bears on them. So I would try to snag one of those and like put it over the tube, just so it's like it's a little bit cute. It's like the littlest bit cute I can get. And then I would have like a 14-year-old and I'd be like, I don't want to put teddy bears on your face. I don't think you want that. But I also don't have anything else. Or I have ugly, And I thought, gosh, as many tubes as I put in, this is ridiculous that I cannot find some cute tape. Because every once in a while I would see either like a patient or I would see something on TV. It's like someone has some cute tape. Like, out of all the people in the world, I should have this tape. If I'm going to be the one putting a tube in a kid's nose and down and on their face, I should at least have cute tape. So I started looking around for cute tape. And I found this mom in England. I don't know why I needed to go across the pond for this, but she called herself a little tubey mom, which means, her kid has a tube. And she had this sticker for these tubes, and they were so cute. There was like, some of them were little cartoons, some of them were just like pretty flowers, some of them were dinosaurs, some of them were little backhoes and tractors, and kids like, boys are like obsessed with that kind of stuff. They'll want to have like a backhoe birthday party or something. So I just thought this is the cutest thing. So I ordered just a couple of sheets of that paper, and I started cutting them, and I started using them when I would place a tube. And kind of over time, I started hearing that tape that really secures well. That kept my kid's tube in so well. I loved it. Or that is so cute. Like, where did you get that? That's adorable. That really brightened our day, or whatever thing. I just heard all this like feedback that the tape was really good. So I ordered a few more, and then I got a little crossbody and put all my tape in there. So anytime I would go somewhere to put on a tube, I'd take my little bag. And over time, I started adding like some padding to go underneath. I would put some scissors in there so I could, cut it to fit the face just right. And I had my little travel bag. That's my little bag. And so when it was time to get new stickers, I would always get excited. I'd be like, ooh, pink with white polka dots. That's so cute. And I'll tell you, sometimes as well as I could take care of that kid, I would have to say, what I did was I found the cutest sticker I could for that NG tube, and I put it on your face, and then I sent you on to the next place you had to go. And that was kind of all I had. That's all the extra I had to give to you today, was a really cute piece of tape. And my hope is when y'all look at it later that it, brings a little smile, or at least it's not ugly or whatever. Sometimes I would get to ask a kid like, oh, you want to pick your sticker? What do you want to have? And when you're picking the color of a sticker that's going to go over a tube that you have to have down your nose and into your stomach as a little kid, and you're comparing that with the weightiness of their illness, their family challenges, like just the fact that they should be at school and they're not because they're at the hospital, the fact that they should be playing with their friends but they're not there at a doctor's appointment, or I'm not even playing with my friends because I'm at my sister's doctor's appointment. When you weigh those things together, they are obviously worlds apart. And that sticker cannot do one thing about all these things I'm talking about. That sticker cannot do one thing about the fact that our insurance system in the United States of America is completely backwards. It can't do anything about the fact that we need to figure out a better way to support kids in poverty. It can't do anything about the fact that you just have the parents you have and they're as healthy as they are. And if they're not emotionally healthy, there's very little we can really do about it on a mass scale. That has to be like every village has to kind of come together around each family that needs help and support them. That sticker does nothing for all that. But I also know I can't do anything about any of that. And the very least I can do is look at this child and say, you know what? I think it'd be fun for you to have a pink sticker with white polka dots on it today. Let's do it. And as heartbreaking as that is, that's what we have to do sometimes, is have our little thing that we can have. Our little tiny little corner of the world that we can fight darkness with. A stupid little sticker. But you know what? It's what I could do, and I did it every single chance I had. And the other day, I brought my little bag in somewhere, and I set it down, and I said to myself, I'm going to grab that in just a second. And I didn't grab it in just a second. I forgot about it. And the next day I went back to that exact spot and it was not there. And I looked around and I asked around and I didn't dig through the trash. I'll be honest. We take out the trash way too often. I'm not going to dig through the trash for anything like that. But the cleaning lady was like, it was sitting right here. And I was like, I know, that's the last place I saw it too. And it was gone. And the flood of emotion that opened up, I don't think I've cried that hard about anything in such a long time. And I think now in hindsight, feeling like I lost my one little thing that I could do was just too much for me. I could list you 1,000 things that I cannot do anything about. And the one thing I can do is show up my best self, do my absolute best, and care about this patient in this moment and put a cute sticker on your face. And that I felt like was stripped away from me. And not even stripped away from me. I did it. I lost it. I lost that. And I was so angry at myself. But I also know I can make a new bag. I can find a new way. I'll have another little corner. You know, I won't always have this job, this specific role. I won't always anything. Wherever you are, you may not have a thing to put a sticker on, but you have a little corner. You have a little corner where you can say, out of all the things I can't do, this I can do. This I'm able to do. And this I'm going to do. So whatever your little corner is, whatever your sticker is, whatever your icing on your cupcake is. Whatever your specific way to love and care for your patients, or love and care for your students, or love and care for the people in your life, I encourage you to do it. Sometimes that's all we've got.
Thanks for listening to Little Things, Big Feelings with Joy Delaney. I'm James, the producer, editor, director, and executive producer. Follow Joy on socials at Joy Delaney Cox on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Honestly, forget TikTok. I don't even know how to use it
You
anyway.
don't know how to use it anyway.
James?
Follow Joy on socials at Joy Delaney Cox on Instagram and Facebook. See you next week.